Boundaries are a fundamental aspect of clinical practice, ensuring ethical and effective interactions with clients. This episode is a companion to Therapy Training's 3 CEU's Boundaries in Clinical Practice course. So, what can you expect to learn in this episode? We'll cover the importance of boundaries, delve into legal and ethical issues that arise, and explore practical strategies for establishing and maintaining these boundaries with clients. Plus, I'll address some common misconceptions about boundaries in therapy and provide you with thought-provoking insights to enhance your practice. Let's start with the foundation. Why are boundaries so vital in clinical practice? Imagine your therapeutic relationship as a dance. If one partner steps too close, it can lead to discomfort, miscommunication, or even a complete breakdown of the relationship. Boundaries help define the space where healing can occur. They create a safe environment for both the client and the therapist, allowing for trust to flourish. When we think about boundaries, it's easy to get caught up in the idea of them being rigid or stifling. But in reality, boundaries are flexible. They can adapt to the needs of each client while still providing structure. This flexibility is essential because it allows for the nuances of individual therapy sessions while maintaining a professional distance that protects both parties. Now let's discuss some legal and ethical issues related to boundaries in clinical practice. It's important to recognize that boundaries are not just about personal comfort. They also have legal implications. The mental health field is governed by ethical standards and legal regulations that mandate certain boundaries. For instance, dual relationships, where a therapist has more than one type of relationship with a client, can lead to conflicts of interest and potential harm. A classic example of this is a therapist who becomes friends with a client outside of therapy. While it may seem harmless, this dual relationship can blur the lines of professionalism. In many cases, it can affect the client's treatment and may even expose the therapist to legal issues. It's paramount to understand the ethical guidelines laid out by organizations like the American Psychological Association and the National Association of Social Workers. These guidelines are designed to protect both clients and therapists, ensuring a clear framework for professional conduct. One common misconception is that establishing boundaries can make therapists seem cold or unapproachable. On the contrary, well-defined boundaries actually enhance the therapeutic relationship. They demonstrate respect for the client's autonomy and create a space where clients can explore their thoughts and feelings without fear of overstepping. Remember, boundaries are not walls. They're guidelines that help maintain a safe therapeutic space. So, how do we establish and maintain appropriate boundaries with clients? One effective strategy is to communicate openly about boundaries from the very beginning of the therapeutic relationship. This can be done during the initial session when discussing confidentiality and session expectations. Clearly laying out what clients can expect helps set the tone for the relationship. Another key strategy is self-awareness. As a therapist, it's essential to be attuned to your own emotional responses and triggers. If a client's behavior makes you feel uncomfortable, it's crucial to recognize that feeling and assess why it's occurring. Is it because they're pushing your boundaries, or is it a reflection of your own past experiences? By maintaining self-awareness, you can better navigate the therapeutic relationship and ensure that you remain a supportive figure for your clients. Supervision and consultation can also be incredibly beneficial in this regard. Engaging in regular supervision allows therapists to discuss boundary issues with a trusted colleague or supervisor. This not only provides an opportunity for reflection and growth, but also helps therapists learn from one another's experiences. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on the ethical principles related to boundaries. The principle of beneficence, or doing good, emphasizes that therapists should act in the best interest of their clients. This principle is deeply intertwined with boundaries. By establishing clear boundaries, therapists can help clients feel safe and supported, which ultimately fosters the healing process. Another relevant principle is non-maleficence, or the obligation to do no harm. When boundaries are not respected, clients may experience emotional distress or harm. For instance, if a therapist engages in a romantic relationship with a client, it can lead to significant emotional damage for the client, undermining the very purpose of therapy. And let's not forget about the principle of autonomy. Clients have the right to make their own choices, and part of respecting that autonomy involves maintaining professional boundaries. When a therapist oversteps, it can inadvertently disempower the client, making them feel as though they are not in control of their own healing journey. As we wrap up this section, I want to emphasize that boundaries are not just a set of rules. They're a vital part of the therapeutic process that fosters trust and respect. Now let's address some common misconceptions about boundaries. One misconception is that setting boundaries means being unfeeling. This belief can lead to therapists avoiding necessary boundary setting due to fear of being perceived as cold. In reality, setting boundaries can be an act of care. It shows clients that you value their well-being and want to create a safe environment for them to explore their emotions. Another misconception is that boundaries are solely the therapist's responsibility. While therapists must take the lead in establishing boundaries, clients also play a role. They should feel empowered to voice their needs and concerns regarding boundaries. This collaborative approach can enhance the therapeutic relationship and ensure that both parties feel respected. Now let's pivot to some real-world examples that highlight the importance of boundaries in therapy. Imagine a therapist who receives a text message from a client late at night. The therapist feels the urge to respond immediately, wanting to be supportive. However, responding outside of session hours can blur the boundaries and create an expectation that the therapist is always available. By choosing to wait until the next session to address the client's concerns, the therapist reinforces the structure of the therapeutic relationship and maintains professional boundaries. Or consider a scenario where a client begins to share deeply personal stories about their life that might provoke strong emotional responses in the therapist. It can be tempting to engage in self-disclosure to foster connection, but this can shift the focus away from the client's needs. Instead, the therapist can acknowledge the emotional impact while redirecting the conversation back to the client, ensuring that the therapeutic space remains client-centered. As we conclude this episode, let's reflect on the broader implications of boundaries in clinical practice. Boundaries are essential for creating a safe therapeutic environment, protecting both clients and therapists from potential harm, and fostering a space where healing can occur. I encourage you to take the lessons from this discussion and apply them in your practice. Consider how you can strengthen your boundary-setting skills and enhance your therapeutic relationships. And if you're interested in diving deeper into the subject, be sure to check out Therapy Training's course on 3 CEU's Boundaries in Clinical Practice. You'll find a wealth of information, case studies, and practical strategies designed to help you navigate this critical aspect of your work. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, boundaries are the invisible lines that allow us to provide effective therapy while maintaining the integrity of our practice. Visit therapytrainings.com for more courses and resources to support you on your professional journey. Until next time, take care and keep those boundaries strong.